Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. This is Cross Examinations. I'm your host, Mike S. Miller, here once again to talk Bible, talk culture, talk, and of course, the Boomer strikes again. I had the microphone on. I hope everyone's having a good, blessed day. It is another beautiful day in San Diego. It's quite warm outside. I don't even have to wear a sweatshirt today. So, what is going on? What is going on? What is going on in the world today? The topic today is gay trans bestiality at DC Comics. Because nothing says kids comics like gay trans bestiality. And you'll never guess, if you don't know already, what comic book they're putting this in. Is it a Vertigo title? Is it a Vertigo title full with dark, gray characters of questionable morals and questionable ethics, and dealing with the deepest, darkest roots of evil in mankind, and whatnot? Vertigo titles like Sandman or Preacher. Delving into the demonic and the underbelly of life. Is that where we get the gay trans bestiality comic from DC? Well, you just wait and find out a little bit later, because first, we have to go to yesterday's stream and answer the comments that were left behind. As with every day, if after the show you have a question or comment you want to leave in the comment section, I will address those first on the following day's show. And as you come in, please do like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications, and share right now if you would. I'm not sure if everyone's getting their notifications, but hit that share button and let people know out there that there's a great fellowship here that we have every day on Cross Examinations Live. All right, I'm going to go with Biggest Geek is first. He says, there is a technology that prevents us from building pyramids. Labor unions. Wah, 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 wah. And the only other comment yesterday was from Nathan Rosario, and this was to do with the abortion bill passed and signed by de Blasio in New York. Ironically, capital punishment for convicted murderers is illegal in New York, but murdering an innocent baby for convenience is celebrated. Tell me if that changed the microphone at all. As Matt Walsh said, anyone who thinks this is rational or moral is a psychopath. I absolutely agree. There is something disconnected up here in the cerebral cortex for anyone who thinks it's okay to kill a baby, especially the day before it's delivered. Unbelievable. I really don't like getting into abortion discussions because I have such strong beliefs against it. Plus, the pro-abortion side of the debate has absolutely no facts on their side. No, it's all emotion-based, just like our... And it's emotion-based! Oh my gosh, I have to share this. This crazy person. Oh no. Okay. I have to share this. Just because you triggered me. You triggered me with the emotion-based thing. I have to share. All right. Oh no, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Why does it do that?
And all those around us. Every rated that hat. Keep America great. So many people, that's racism.
That's because of the mainstream media's narrative that's created Donald Trump. I don't agree. I'm out here to try to share that that narrative is.
You should pay attention to fear and not logic.
Wait. You said pay attention to fear and not logic?
Yes.
I should have paid attention to emotions and not facts?
Yes.
Why would I pay attention to emotions when
that are real in this world?
facts are facts?
Facts. No, emotions are real. Emotions is one removed from spirit. I find that it is hard to trust others.
You shouldn't trust the mainstream media. You should like
Oh my gosh.
start listening and looking into
And you suggest that is saying
She's
don't
alone.
trust knowledge.
Oh, sorry for the pinwheeling. This is terrible. But yeah. Oh my gosh. Why did you have to trigger me?
no, go look up facts. Go look up like actual statistics and facts. Look up peer research.
Emotion is real.
But emotions.
Oh, dropping knowledge. Emotional, they? Yes, they do. They have absolutely no facts on their side, Nathan Rosario. You are correct. As I'm fairly certain that that young woman with that's follically challenged is on the side of killing babies. I'm fairly certain, because they do have no facts on their sides, because only emotions are real. Emotions are real. Which is why they need to resort to internal appeals using hypothetical situations. What about rape? What about incest? Yeah, I know, it always goes to that. I've actually heard some comments saying that America is currently in a cold civil war, and it's just a matter of time before we become embroiled in another full-blown civil war. I even remember way back in 2004, my college philosophy professor mentioning that the last time the U.S. was this evenly divided over moral issues was the years just before the first Civil War. So he also believed it was just a matter of time before Americans start killing each other by the hundreds of thousands on the battlefield again. And this was in 2004. It feels like everyone was sitting around a campfire roasting marshmallows back then compared to where we are now. We are incredibly divided now. I do attribute it to the past two presidents. I attribute it to Obama and Trump. But you know what? Let's not get all political again. Hey, Facebook family, if you want to come join us, please do jump onto the link, the YouTube link. It is at the top of the post. I'm going to end the Facebook video now. And all right, now, let us see what our fine friends in the chat are talking about. Or rather, shall we see? We're only 7 minutes in. It's usually this is usually a little too early to jump into the old topic of the day. But what the heck? We've got 58 viewers here. Why don't we, rather than, let me say shout outs to everybody. Gizmo, hello. Deathbell, Jay Solano, Desiccant, Matt Carson, Papa Kenesu, John Dillard, what's up, bro? Uriah Wright, Ekano, Scott Event, Josh, Catholic Rob, Colin, Jay, WK, I don't know who I've said already. WK, I already said that. Papa Kenesu, Liam, Deathbell, Antonio, what's up, everybody? If I missed you, I apologize. Welcome to Cross-Examination. So, the question of what edgy, dark comic book is DC Comics publishing where they are delving into the gay trans bestiality world? What dark comic book could it possibly be? Is it perhaps Preacher? Or boy, what are some of the other, was it 100 Bullets? You know, what are these dark Fable maybe? Yeah. This is just so unbelievable that you're going to be shocked. If you don't know what it is already, you're going to be shocked. I know, not even Second Coming. It is, it's Wonder Twins. That's right, it's Wonder Twins. the targeted for youth, you know, happy-go-lucky, the comic relief from the Super Friends cartoon, Wonder Twins. Wonder Twins. So, remember the Super Friends? Remember the Super Friends? They needed to throw the Wonder Twins in there. I don't know. Maybe they threw them in because everybody else was white. Nah, it was the 70s. They didn't care about that crap. They threw them in for comic relief. The twins and the monkey. They needed some comic relief, right? So they were targeted at children. They were really just kind of a goofy. You know, a lot of younger kids don't even know what the Wonder Twins are. So there was this cartoon when we were all kids. Well, those of us who are a little older, called the Super Friends. And, you know, it had basically the JLA, but, you know, the JLA were all older, mature, except for Robin characters. And there was no, you know, they should have just thrown Plastic Man in there for comedy relief. But instead, they created the Wonder Twins, a couple of younger characters with a goofy monkey sidekick, Zan and Jaina. Sorry, I forgot how to pronounce my names. It's been so long. And you know, they were there to draw in more kids, right? More kids, more kids, more kids. And so now, bringing them back in their own comic book, they have this sneak preview where they're here on Earth and they're telling their classmates, because obviously they're in high school, all about the world they come from. Let me see if I can read this. It's quite small. Exorians are a modest and sensible people. We're a pretty quiet bunch, actually. Unless there's a thunderstorm. Whenever there's a thunderstorm, Exorian adults will drop whatever they are doing and start tearing off their clothes. Okay. Driven mad with thunderlust, Exorians are bonded into a single rhythm with the night. Men become women. Women become night throbs with their pleasure. Okay, Zan, many body fluids are involved. So gross. This. And look, so you have video about this yesterday if you want to check his channel out at Doug 10 April on YouTube. So you have men with women. You have man with women tearing off their clothes. You have man with man turning into butterfly. You have two turning into monkeys, I guess. And then you have what is that? What do they call those? Lion with wings. There's a word for it. Sphinx? No, that's a face. Anyways, with a dove creature. So they are gender fluid. They are species fluid, and they're just frolicking around. Anytime, you know, there's too much moisture and electricity in the air and thunder. A griffin, manticore. I don't know. But this is the state of DC Comics today, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even have to go into the rest of this. Why do they have to try to destroy everything? And this is, lo and behold, written by the same jackass, forgive me for using that phrase, but I think it's appropriate, that wrote the Second Coming comic book. I'm not even going to put his name up because I don't want to give him the credit. Oh, many bodily fluids are involved. Ugh. You know, their power, they can transform into creatures. Those creatures don't have clothes on, so if they're gonna, there's no need to tear off your clothes, first of all. So that is what my former and beloved employer formerly beloved employer, is doing with the cartoon child characters of yonder. Just burn it to the ground, people. Why not? Berserker Pride said, this is why DC Comics, this is the DC Comics who just cut 3% of their staff, by the way, including valuable people. Yeah, they cut, yeah, it wasn't a lot. They don't have a lot of, you know, they're only 240 people work there, and they cut 10. But they cut some high, you know, they cut their art director, Mark Chiarello, among others. And, hold on a second. Oh, that's close enough. You know, this is the, we've been seeing this. This is why Comicsgate exists. Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if Ben Shapiro does a story on this. Things I hate. Things I hate. But yeah, from, let's see, how far back can we date this? Let's see, Superman giving up his American citizenship because it was the Bush administration. Wonder Woman becoming a lesbian. Oh, all Themyscians are now lesbians, obviously. You know, Thor becoming Lady Thor. Iron Man becoming teen psychotic child Iron Man. I mean, I don't need to go through all of it, but it's just this constant drumbeat of not just the identity politics thing, but the moral and ethical destruction of children's entertainment. And yes, I understand that the modern direct market is mostly 30 to 50-year-olds. I understand that. But they're not targeting Wonder Twins at 30 to 50-year-olds, okay? They're targeting it at the youth market, and now it's the gay trans bestiality comic. Thank you, DC Comics. Who the hell is running the ship? Because you're idiots. You are flipping idiots. All right. Tweet Ben Shapiro about this. He should bring this up. It's the kind of thing that a normie would actually care about. Yeah, my phone's charging in the other room. I'll just email him. I'll email him later. Wait, 12:56. Might be about to do his show. Actually, I'll write Jeremy, the producer. Because Ben might be a little busy. Wonder Twins comic at DC has gay, trans, bisexual content. Not bisexual, bestiality. Spelled bestiality wrong. Wait, bestiality. No, I didn't. It's just not on my spell check. All right. Anyways, title not safe for work. Satan is running DC Comics. I don't know. You'd think it's like, you know, like Jim's not this kind of guy. I don't think so. His wife is a pretty devout Christian. Hank Canals' his wife. I don't know about Hank's faith, but I know his wife is a devout Christian. It would seem like, you know, the you know, behind every successful man there's a, you know, a good woman. It seems like their women would be like, what the hell are you doing? Although maybe that's getting too personal. I know some personal stuff about that family. I'm not going to bring it up. But there are personal reasons why I can see one of them being friendly to the argument, I guess you could say. What does the panel in question mean? I looked at it and have no idea what I'm looking at. they transform into animals and copulate in lustful perversion. So yeah, this is a crazy topic I had to watch. It is a crazy topic, and yeah, we're allowed to say hell on my channel. Hell's a thing. So they have a planet-wide gay trans bestiality orgy whenever there's a thunderstorm. Rated T for teen. I know. No. What is wrong with these people? So essentially, because they go into this mad, passionate orgy, and thunderstorms can't be all that uncommon, that would mean that a huge percentage of the population probably doesn't know who their real parents are, or who their real fathers are. Although, wait, men become women and women become creatures. Wait, if men become women, then they've got the input valve, and women become creatures. The women have to become male creatures and are, I don't even want to talk about this with my kid in the room. This is so disgusting. DC, what's wrong with you? That's furry stuff. Yeah, maybe there's furries running DC Comics. What is going on? Warner Brothers, get control over your comic book division. Run, young Miller. Don't analyze it. No. Okay, is there some way? I know there's scriptures that talk about this. Let me put your headphones on, kid. Let me find the appropriate scripture real quick, and I will bring this back to Romans 1:24. And 23. And exchange the glory of the immortal God for images of mortal man and birds and animals and reptiles. Oh my gosh, this is like perfect for this. Therefore, God gave them over in the desires of their hearts to impurity for the dishonoring of their bodies with one another. They exchanged the truth of God for a lie and worshipped and served created things rather than the Creator, who is forever worthy for praise. I don't know. Maybe maybe the guy who wrote the Jesus comic. Actually, let me go on here. For this reason, God gave them over to dishonorable passions. Even their women exchanged natural relations for unnatural ones. Likewise, the men abandoned natural affections with women and burned with lust for one another. Men committed indecent acts with other men and received in themselves the due penalty for their error. I'm starting to think that the writer for the Second Coming book was doing research for Wonder Twins, or for Second Coming, and he stumbled upon Romans, and he thought, wow, this would be a great scene in Wonder Twins, because that's so spot on to what he's just describing. Liam Gray for $5 says, you know what we need? A degeneracy plant for all the furries. DC 2019. Seriously, where the hell is editorial? I don't know, man. Yeah, who is the editor on this book? I wonder if it says. Let me find out. Wonder Twins editor. And that's going to be, oh, Wonder Twins, Comic Vine. All right. Comic Vine should have all the associated, unless this is an older, oh, this is the older one. Darn it, it doesn't have the new one. Doesn't have the new one out. Yeah, whoever the editor is and the group editor, you're all responsible for the moral, ethical fall of DC Comics. The editor probably got laid off. Let's hope. Let's hope. Oh, jeez. Honestly, if I was WB, I would just go in there with a freaking chainsaw and just cut job after job after job and find people with a rational thought in their head to hire creatives who aren't determined to drive this company, this legacy company, into the dirt, into the ground. What? I still can't wrap my head around. I can't wrap my head around it. I mean, you remember they turned Snagglepuss, beloved children's cartoon character Snagglepuss, into a gay playwright. This is, I'm guessing this has, I don't know, maybe it's the same editor. They've had the same editors there for flipping ever. Dr. Fantastic says, that's it. I'm leaving Earth. The flood was to rid the world of Cain's line, which failed as one survived. I don't think that's the case, but if you want to hold that to be true, that's not accurate as far as I know. And then I made whole videos about this original sin. Maybe they just fired editorial. Yeah, maybe, you know, if it was like assistant editors week, maybe, or assistant editors month, and we could just fire the assistant editors. Yeah, Berserker Pride. Cartoon characters need a sex life now. It's current year, after all. Yeah, my argument has always been, you know what, these are kids' books. Let's kind of just leave sex out of it. Could we, please? I mean, unless they're targeted for adults, then come on, man. Matt, your responses are so genuine, they're funny. Oh, thanks. Laughing at my responses. Let's see. Well, I tried to bring it back to the Bible. Somebody else had some other scriptures for me to read. Where were they? Yeah, let's try to focus this back on the moral decay. Well, that's kind of the hard part. It is about this moral decay, which, as I just read in Romans, this was coming. This was coming. It doesn't mean we don't try to fight it, you know. And that's what the whole Comicsgate thing is. I would hope that at least most of the books coming out of Comicsgate are not delving into this kind of freaking rot, this moral crap. Because if we want this kind of immoral crap, we can just get it at Marvel and DC now. Because, you know, because it's edgy, man. They're probably just trying to get on the news. Liam for another 5. Australian says, if Golden Age Superman came to 2019 DC, he would fly all the furries and degenerates to Wonder World, and Earth would be saved. Retro. That's actually a great... I mean, that's sort of what they did with Captain America, right? Because he was frozen in a time in the 40s when it was a better, more culturally moral world or country, and then brought him into the modern world where, you know, people are just swearing all the time. People are sleeping with their whatevers. The moral degradation in this nation since it just in the last 50, 60 years. It's been such a very steep, slippery slope. It's yeah. That's why Lone Star maintains his he maintains the moral and ethical guidance of his youth. I did. What are you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? Not my cap. Modern comic book pros get paid in woke bucks and likes instead of money, after all. Here we go. WK Mark 7:27. But Jesus said unto her, let the children first be filled, for it is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it unto the dogs. Well, that's a little out of context. Leviticus 20:15. All right, let me look that one up. Leviticus 20. Come on. What the heck? Leviticus. Come on. Oh, this is a really slow. You know, I'm going to go to Blue Letter Bible. Leviticus 20:15. Oof. Let's just read this whole section here. These are the laws for the law for the Israelites. Now, Jesus freed us from the law in the sense that law requires, when you break the law, it requires punishment, right? The wages of sin is death. We are freed from the law in the sense that it is law. That does not mean that we ignore the law, because the law is still a moral guideline, right? So whereas, you know, I explained this a couple of episodes ago, you know, like the law here in America, right? You get caught stealing something, you go before the judge says you are found guilty, you must be punished, and he gives you probation, or he gives you 6 months in prison, or whatever. The law is indistinguishable from consequence, right? So the law and the consequence are like this. They're hand in hand. The law of Leviticus had particular consequences required for the Israelites, the Jews, until the law was fulfilled, because Jesus himself took all those consequences from everyone who'd ever broken the law upon himself, thereby offering us his payment. He has paid for our sins, right? And he offers that to us as a get into heaven free card, basically, right? Like you're playing Monopoly and you're in jail and you want that get out of jail free card. Well, Jesus has a get into heaven free card. All you have to do, honestly, all you have to do is accept that gift from him, and he enters your life and becomes, you know, indwells, the Holy Spirit indwells you, and you become part of the family of Christ. You are now an adopted son or daughter of God, and because of that, you enter into the heavenly kingdom instantaneously, by the way, even though you don't understand it, because, you know, eternity, time, there's a disconnect there, because God is outside of time. I don't know if heaven's outside of time, though.
Nice try.
I don't know. It's something to delve into. Anyways, this is gonna get sketchy. I'm gonna get because some of these are pretty strict. All right. Sanctify, which means set yourself apart from the rest of the world. Sanctify yourselves, therefore, and be holy, for I am the Lord your God, and keep my statutes and do them. I am the Lord, which sets you apart, sanctifies you. For everyone that curseth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. He hath cursed his father or his mother. His blood shall be upon him. And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. And the man that lieth with his father's wife hath uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them, that's interesting though. The man that lieth with his father's wife hath uncovered his father's nakedness. That is the same language used in Genesis when Ham, Shem, and Japheth, was it Shem, is described as having uncovered his father's nakedness, right? That's the same language. I think in Hebrew, it's the same language. So there are those who speculate that Shem possibly lied with his father's wife, who could either have been his mother or his stepmother or whatever. It's entirely possible that he had more than one wife over the course of his life. Both of them shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. And if a man lie with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall surely be put to death. They have wrought confusion. Their blood shall be upon them. If a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. And if a man take a wife and her mother, it is wickedness. They shall be burnt with fire. Both he and they that are that there be no wickedness among you. And if a man lie with a beast, he shall surely be put to death, and ye shall slay the beast. And if a woman approach unto any beast and lie down hereto, thou shalt kill the woman and the beast. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. And if a man shall take his sister, his father's daughter, or his mother's daughter, and see her nakedness, and she see his nakedness, it is a wicked thing, and they shall be cut off in the sight of their people. He hath uncovered his sister's nakedness. He shall bear his iniquity. Now, this is a law that right here, Leviticus 20:17, was not in place until Moses, until the law of the Levites came into being. There was father, brother, sister. Abraham, Sarah was Abraham's sister. Obviously, Adam through whatever generations, you had to either be marrying your sister or your first cousin or whatever. It was here at Sinai that God implemented this rule. And I've gone down this road before about how genetic perfection with Adam and Eve was information loss in the digital code of human DNA led to that being functionally not a smart thing to do. Don't marry your sister. But anyways, and thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister, nor of thy father's sister. Oh, Jon Snow, for he uncovereth his near kin. They shall bear their iniquity. Jon and Danny. Bad, bad, bad. And thou shalt not. And if a man shall lie with his uncle's wife. Although I do want to point out here, if you actually, I don't know if that word is karat. Let me see real quick. Shall lie with, there shall be cut off. Cut off. Oh, yeah. So I guess, yeah. Yep, they would be killed too. Whoops. Why didn't that pop up in a new screen? All right. No, brothers. If a man shall lie with his uncle's wife, he hath uncovered his uncle's nakedness. They shall bear their sin and die childless. Ooh. And if a man shall take his brother's wife, it is an unclean thing. He that uncovered his brother's nakedness, they shall be childless. This is, of course, excepting if the brother dies. If the brother dies, then it's actually also in the law. Actually, I don't know if it's law or if it's just cultural, but like the brother should raise up. Like you remember the story of Onan. Onan's the guy who didn't want to raise up his brother's children, or his brother's. He didn't want to have children with his brother's widow, because in Israel, like land is partitioned out through bloodline, right? So certain people get certain land, and so his brother's widow's kids would have been raised. They would have been his kids, but they would have been raised to be his brother, under his brother's bloodline, so that they would have possessed the inheritance of his brother rather than Onan. And then God killed Onan because he wouldn't perform. Anyways, okay, well, I'm not going to read all of the law of Leviticus, but interested in hearing what you guys have to say. Liam, again, for $5. Wait, so the polyamory of King David is so-so, but you marry a mother and a daughter, it's severe sin taboo. Polyamory of King David. Yeah, if you marry a mother and daughter, yeah, I mean, polygamy isn't even there's no law against polygamy in the Bible. I don't know if you know that. The only people in the Bible who are told directly to only have one wife are church leaders, deacons, bishops, whatever it says, and he shall be the husband of one wife. I would suppose that is because one wife is enough, and if you have more than one wife, then you're going to be you're not going to have time to lead the church. But no, it's funny. There's nothing against polygamy in the Bible. It is a cultural rule in the West and in America that one man, one woman. So you can make that argument, I guess, if you're a Mormon and you want to make that argument. But no, in our world, it is a cultural thing. We have one man, one wife. One man, one woman. That's marriage. Sorry. What scripture was which again? Jay Hamilton. I just read through Leviticus 20. Probably most of Leviticus 20. David Peterson, the way I see it is the law is still what God wants for us. Jesus' death meant we are not judged for failing to serve the law, but the law should still be in our hearts. Yeah, he's written the law in our hearts, but the law, like I said, the law becomes our moral guide. It is not coupled any longer with the punishment prescribed in the law. Like I said, the law is there for prescriptions of punishment, right? And Christ paid all the penalty. Law and penalty are they do not exist without each other. Otherwise, there is no purpose in the law. Without penalty, there is no purpose in law, right? But the law is still perfect in that it is a moral guideline. You don't do those things that are said to be particularly punishable by death because they are wrong, and you are trying to live a perfect life. As Jesus said, be perfect as I am perfect, which is what we strive to be. Catholic Rob, does it take long to read the entire Bible? Well, it's 1,600 pages, Rob, if you take out the Apocrypha, which you should. They might be a great read, but they are not scripture. If you want to just sit down and read it all the way through, it takes as long as it takes to read any decent-sized novel, or at least a Game of Thrones book. But I listen to it. I listen to it. And so I can are you talking to him?
Hmm?
Are you talking to Micah? Can you tell him to stop screaming, please?
Micah, no more screaming.
Daddy said no more screaming.
Daddy said no more screaming.
I would actually like to hear a biblical scholar address this issue. It is the same language. What issue? What are you talking about? Sorry, I'm jumping around in the chat because trying to see things. Eden Miller. Hi, Dad. Hey, Eden. Eden's at school watching me talk about Leviticus. All right. Good times, Eden. Literally your child. Hi, read my chat. This is important. Literally your child. What? Do you need something, Eden? My phone's in the other room, so if you're trying to text me, then I'll have to go get it. No, read my other chat. Eden, why are we doing this in the middle of the thing? I don't see an earlier chat.
Fine.
I don't see an earlier chat, Eden. My first chat. Hi, Dad. Thanks.
Oh, you lost.
Literally your child. Hi, read my chat. Oh, hey, this is Eden. Ariana says hi. Also, I sprained my ankle and I need you to sign a transportation form for my internship. And this has to be in the middle of a cross-examinations, Eden, really? It has to be digital. They have to email it to me because I can't take the car out, so. He sprained his ankle. Eden, David. Eden. Eden is a girl. This is real life parenting happening. I know, right? I think I'll get the audiobook. Yeah, Catholic Rob, if you have a smartphone or a tablet, just download the YouVersion Bible app, and it's got audio versions of several different translations. I love the King James version. It's not just a dry read, it's almost a dramatization. It's very well done. So yeah, check that out. Sprained ankles suck. Yeah, they do. Now, you literally sprain your ankle, as in they took you to the emergency. You know, we shouldn't be having this conversation on cross-examinations, honey. Why don't we do this after the fact? Let me see, where are we now?
There's no full day.
We are at 47 minutes. I really have to go to the bathroom. Tell you what, guys, give me 1 minute, all right?
What? I'm not playing with you. Because you killed me. No, I'm getting stuck. I have no ammo. I have one shotgun ammo.
I feel light as a feather. Whew. Sprains aren't the worst. Flush the toilet, Dad. Ha ha ha. Anyone here think Mike beats his boys? Isaac, do I beat you?
What?
Do I beat you?
No. Only if I'm bad.
Yeah, right.
That means spanking.
No, actually, the
You don't get me spankings anymore.
yeah, I have
Only little kids get spankings.
yeah, I have a rule in my house that after 10 years old, you don't get spankings anymore. So it's sort of like a graduation from child to preteen. Sometimes I regret that with Micah But by the time they're, honestly, by the time they're 9, I'd probably spank Micah like once or twice his entire 9th year. So by the time they're 10, you should be able to have a good. Anyways, Johnny Carson never took a live pee break during the Tonight Show. It adds gravitas. I have a bladder like a little girl. Sorry, and I drank a full cup of coffee before I started this. So that was perhaps unwise, but whatever. Let's see. 10 is good coffee. Yeah, that didn't sound reassuring. Why no dang notification? I don't know, Jeff. I don't know. And well, it looks like we lost about 10 viewers during the reading of Leviticus. It's funny. It's a Bible show. People should have known that I would get into the Bible. Maybe people don't like to hear the law because they realize that. And boy, you know, those are some of the most egregious laws too. I mean, like the most like hardcore. You know, hey, don't sleep with your sister. Don't sleep with your mom. Don't sleep with your mother-in-law. Don't sleep. You know. That's why I didn't want to just read the men sleeping with men one out of context, because that isn't it. The larger context, the entire chapter is about sexual immorality. It's not just one little thing. They always just nitpick that one little thing. And it's like, hey, man, it's all part of the same thing. Sexual immorality has a broad, lots and lots of targets. Places you should. Okay, I'm not even going to go there. But yeah, I mean, look at all that stuff. That's like a checklist for Satan, right? All right, how far down the slippery slope can we go? Well, let's make sure that we make all these things okay by the time, you know, whatever. It was Leviticus chapter 20, Kevin. The law was made because somebody actually did it. Therefore, they needed to point it out. Everett Todd for 250 says the law convicts the heart of the guilty. Oh yeah, I mean, if we want to go through the whole law, there's what 613 or 615 rules, something like that, and we're all guilty of some of it, right? I don't think there's anyone that's guilty of all of it, but Jesus did pay for all of it on the cross, and so. Antonio, no back home. All right. The enemy knows this time is short, and he is very busy. He is, isn't he, Watchman? He's been quite busy. 613 JRM corrects me or confirms me. I wasn't sure if it was 613 or 615. 613 seems like a very odd number. I think the Lord should have bumped it up by 2. 615 sounds just a little. But that's okay, because I think the Jews bumped it up by like 1,000. There's probably 1,000 extra laws. They tried to build a fence around the laws to keep themselves away from the laws. Like I don't think it's actually a law that you can't travel more than a mile. But what the Jews would do is they would set up a mile marker all the way around the city, so that they knew that was as far as they could walk on Sabbath. If they walked any further than a mile, then they were working. Stuff like that. And the the whole set of kosher laws. That's all based on one simple law that says don't seethe a calf in its mother's milk, which I don't know if there's any health issues with seething a calf in its mother's milk, but it's a pretty messed up thing to do. I just think on a so you're going to kill the calf, and then you're going to use its own mother's milk to boil it in. And it's like, whoa, that's mean. Only sin I have is thou shalt not use hand, but I'm getting over. Victor. I doubt that's your only sin. We all Mike, what religion are you? I would like to say I'm not religious at all. I believe in the Bible. I believe in the God of the Bible. I believe in Jesus Christ. That means I'm a Christian, but I don't believe Christianity is about religion. Religion is mankind's attempt to figure out how to get to God. Christianity is a message from God. The Bible is a message from God to man, and a gift of salvation and relationship. And so Christianity is a relationship with God, not a religion, although people have taken its message and turned it into a religion, which is unfortunate in my opinion. Why boil in milk? Is it because there's no water in the desert? Sketch, I mean, Israel wasn't a desert. Well, I guess, you know, wandering around in the wilderness in the desert, I could see that. Of course, I don't even know if they had cattle. No, they didn't have cattle. So it was inapplicable to the 40 years in the desert because they didn't even have cattle. All of us are unclean. Wait, gosh, did they have cattle? If they had cattle, why would they be so hungry that they needed doves and manna and stuff like that? Or not doves, quail. Oh man, I might have to go back and look that up. There's water underground, even in the desert. Yeah. Oh, you want to see something cool? See if I can find it. Check this out. So in the scriptures, there is. Let me share it. I can't remember what this guy's name is who found this. But in the scriptures, it discusses how you know the people were complaining that they didn't have any water, and then Moses, you know, God told Moses to walk up to this rock and touch it with his staff, right, at Mount Horeb. And then instead of touching it, Moses strikes the rock and it splits in half and water comes gushing out of it, right? So yeah, Exodus 17:6 records God's instructions to Moses. When the Israelites were dying of thirst in the wilderness, I will stand there before you by the rock at Horeb. Strike the rock and water will come out of it for the people to drink. This massive rock split through the middle displays the pattern of water erosion and evidence that numerous streams came forth in several directions. So this is the rock, supposedly. I mean, it seems like a pretty good indication because it's in the right place, in the right location, and there's actually water erosion coming out of its split. But the funny thing is, well, it's not funny. It's not funny. Remember that this is Moses striking this rock rather than laying his staff upon it, is the sin that God kept Moses out of the promised land for, right? Because, well, from a Christian perspective, the illustration here is that God, the rock is Christ, right? The symbolism of the rock is Christ. Christ is the rock of our faith. He is the cornerstone. And by Moses striking the rock, I forget the how did they say it? How do they say it? It's like foreshadowing of the beating that Christ got, right? And because otherwise, I mean, it's just he was angry, right? Moses was angry at the people, which seemed kind of out of character for him, but he's angry, and rather than just, you know, Everyone's begging for living water, and out of this rock pours forth living water and saves everyone from being thirsty. It's, I mean, it's the illustrations of Christ are you know, numerable. But that he struck it because he was angry. God wasn't trying to show the people that he was angry, right? He just wanted to give them that living water. And Moses disobeyed. He created a false illustration of the message God was trying to give. I wouldn't say it made him a false prophet or anything, but you know, he allowed his emotions to override the message that God was trying to provide. You know, God doesn't provide for us in anger. And Moses was like, "You people keep complaining," and whacked the rock. And that was why Moses could never enter the promised land. Oh yeah, and then here's actual carvings from around that location. Oh look, why can't I remember what the name of this? Hanukkah, no, Hanukkah. Wow, I'm drawing a total blank. We usually do Hanukkah every year. I can't remember. Menorah. Thank you, Josh. Thank you. Derp. All right. So yeah, around this location, there's all kinds of, like, here's the calf, the golden calf or bull or whatever. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of the guy. There's whole documentaries on the guy that went and found all of this stuff. Very interesting. Oh yeah, here, look, it's the 2 tablets with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sections, 10 commandments. Ancient carvings all over this place that show pretty definitively that this was the area where Moses and the 2 million escaping Jews from Israel were. So Ron Wyatt, thank you, creepy little book. Ron Wyatt, look that guy up. I don't want to spend all day doing that, but that's actually really fun stuff. Oh, and I am actually over an hour. Let me see. Is that supposed to be the actual rock? Yep. Yes, Jay, it looks like to be the actual rock. And actually there is, I think, a carving at the base of the rock. Sorry, I'm not going to go back and look it up. That's like somehow related to Moses. I can't remember what it was. But anyways, thank you one and all for being here. It has been an hour, so we do have to wrap this up. I try to keep cross-examinations to about an hour so that people don't get overwhelmed by me doing 6-hour live streams. I save that for drawing and whatnot, so I don't have to be very anyways, thanks again one and all. Tomorrow is Friday. I will be doing an art auction tomorrow night. Trying to decide how many pages. I was thinking about 2, but then I was thinking maybe I'll do a couple cheaper pages as well for people to get in on some cheaper stuff. And other than that, you know, hey, open your Bible, do some reading, get on your knees, do some praying, spend some time with the Lord, build your relationship with God, because that's the most important thing. It doesn't matter what denomination you are. It only matters that you build your personal relationship with the one true God. And I pray that you do that daily. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Love you all, and God bless.